English certainly has a lot of verb tenses. Here I'm going to cover 7 of them, not all, but most of them. Firstly, the simple past. I have a little timeline here. So it's an isolated or entirely complete action that it happened probably at a specific time, but most importantly, once or in some short period of time entirely in the past. We have keywords last, ago, in, on, at, yesterday, when, any time earlier, today, or this week. So I ate breakfast this morning. It's a complete action. It happened only once. It's at a specific time. It's all entirely in the past. It will not continue into the present or future. We started school last September. Here's our keyword. We only start school one time in the year. It happened in September. It's finished. 5 years ago I had a Ford Mustang. This implies that I no longer have it. Of course, we would need to know that fact if we wanted to determine what to choose on a gap fill, something like that in this sentence. But 5 years ago, this is our key here, our hint. 5 years ago I had it. It's completely finished. I no longer have it. When we went to the barbecue on Wednesday. Wednesday has passed. It's finished. It's a one-time only event. Complete. I took my test at noon. This implies that it's in the past. It's only one test. It is complete. Past progressive is used similarly, but with actions that took a longer time, or to clarify that an action was ongoing at some specific time in the past. The action is completed. We're going to use this most frequently with simple past for interrupting actions. We don't use progressive or continuous forms with stative verbs. So I was living in Detroit in 1996. It was ongoing, right? There was uninterrupted progress, right? Let's say the action was in progress at a specific time in the past and it was uninterrupted action. Okay. I was living in Detroit in 1996. We were eating dinner when he called. We've seen this one before. We have a longer action is interrupted by a shorter action entirely in the past. And I was playing football at 7 o'clock on Thursday. Right? So most likely we're developing a context in the sentence before or after this sentence. Letting us know that we want to use the past progressive because we want to specify that something was ongoing at 7 o'clock. Or if somebody asked the question, what were you doing at 7 o'clock on Thursday? You'd say, I was playing football at 7 o'clock on Thursday. The present perfect is used for actions that started or occurred in the past, but they were interrupted, habits or routines, and they continued to the present. They're not entirely finished. They're likely to continue in the future. Our keywords are since or for, so I've already eaten. That's another keyword, already. I've eaten already, right? I'll probably eat again in the future, of course. I have never been to Dubai. This is again, I've never. This is another keyword. I've never been to Dubai. Still up to this point, I have been 0 times. They've gone to Dammam twice this week. We have a countable number of times, so if there's a specific number of instances, then you know it's interrupted, and you should use the present perfect, right? They've gone twice already this week. They might go again. They could go again in the future. The action is not necessarily complete. One of the main questions I hear is, how do I know whether it's the simple past or the present perfect? Let's look at some of these examples. Peter blank football yesterday. Well, played, because yesterday is complete. We can't continue playing today. If it was yesterday, they blanked the car, it looks new again. They cleaned the car, it looks new again, right? I suppose the question is, will they clean it again? But it is complete action, so we should choose the simple past. Last year we went to Italy. It's a completed action. John and Peggy blank the new book. Now they can watch the film. Have just read. Have just read means that it happened only a moment ago. They may have just finished it a moment ago. Read the new book. The action is completed, so these aren't maybe the best examples. I met my friend 2 days ago, specific time. So let's go with the specific, non-specific time for these here. If it's a non-specific time in the past, then we're going to choose the present perfect. That's the other qualifier. We blank another country before. Well, We have never visited another country before, or we visited another country before. It's a non-specific time, so let's stick with that. And I've got some error. Oh, there it is. She blank a new car in 2011, so she bought. It's a specific time. I'm sorry, but I have forgotten my homework. Not specific time. Have you won the game of chess? Or did you win the game? It's a specific game, so it's complete. The girls blank their lunch yet. Have not eaten. Let's see if we got them right, and then if they're not, I'll explain why. 10 out of 10, okay. Present perfect, continuous. Actions that began in the past are not completed. They continue to the present. They may continue into the future, and there's an emphasis on continuing action. That's the important part with the continuous. It looks very much like the timeline for the present perfect, but it's continuous, uninterrupted. It's still not complete, and it's likely to continue into the future. Our keywords are for and since. We're still not using this for stative verbs. For example, I've been studying at the university for 2 semesters. It's uninterrupted. It's happened for some specific length of time from the past to the present. Will continue into the future. We've been seeing each other for a few months, again, from specific point in the past or from some general time in the past up to the present, will likely continue in the future. I've been driving since I was 16, same thing. He's been studying English since he was 4. We've been living here for 12 years. These are all very similar examples. If you have a choice between present perfect and present perfect progressive for ongoing interrupted action, choose progressive. Again, one of the biggest questions, how do I know if it's present perfect or present perfect progressive? How long blank Jerry? Have you known Jerry? Because that's a stative verb, we can't say have you been knowing. You look dirty, what blank all the time? What have to do? Have you been doing? All the time, so this is consistently. What have you been doing? Not what have you done, because it's uninterrupted. If you look dirty, obviously there's something you were doing consistently through the past 10 minutes or a few hours that made you dirty. How many times have you been? Those are interrupted. To New York? Or how many times has Charles visited? Excuse me. New York? Yes. She blank French words for hours, but she still doesn't remember all of them. She has been learning for hours consistently, but she still doesn't remember. The children have been watching videos. Is it hard today? Or what hard today? He to study. Does he have to study hard today? My father never to smoke. Has never smoked. I'm sorry I'm late. Have you been waiting? Waiting is continuous action. We haven't seen Lisa recently. He on his essay all day, but he blank it yet. He has been writing his essay all day, but he hasn't finished it. And probably the contractions will be marked incorrect. How long have you known him? What have you been doing all the time? How many times has Charles visited? She's been learning. Yep. Have been watching. He's been studying. Or has he been studying hard to... Oh, sorry. Does he have to is a completely different grammar. Excuse me. My family has never smoked. My father's never smoked. Have you been waiting? We haven't seen Lisa. He has been writing on his essay. Okay. And so again, continuous action, uninterrupted action tells you that it's the continuous form. Present simple is just something, future simple is something that is likely to happen in the future, making predictions about the future. So I will finish my studies by 2019, or by 2025, Qatar's known oil reserves will be exhausted. Future progressive, something that will be ongoing or taking place at some specific future time. Okay? They will be playing soccer tonight at 7 p.m. I'll be attending a seminar all day on Saturday. And finally, the future perfect, something that will be complete before some specific time in the future. At this time next year, I will have been studying at university for 3 years. We'll have eaten dinner tonight by 9 p.m., and by the time you arrive, he'll have begun the program. Let's take a look at a couple more examples. Simple past or past progressive. While Tom was playing the piano, his mother was doing the washing. And we've discussed consecutive or coinciding actions or actions happening at the same time before. He drank some juice and then eat a few. He drank some juice and then he ate a few chips. Right? One happened after the other, non-specific time in the past. I was having dinner when I suddenly heard a loud bang. We've done most of these before, so I think we can move on a little bit. So Marcus, he will be, this is the future simple or the future continuous, he will be waiting for us when our train arrives. I'm sure he will be standing on the platform when we pull in the station. So it's something that's continuous action. We will pick Michelle up, because it's just one time, it's a short action. When they go to the party, Jerry will watch TV. Or when we get to the party, Jerry will be watching. When we get there, we'll be watching TV, and Sam will be making drinks. Beth will be dancing by herself, and Thad will be complaining. When we get there, at some specific time, something will be happening. I am absolutely positive they will do the same things they always do. Certain about making a prediction about the future. Right? So these 7 different verb tenses are quite important if you want to review the different timelines. Take a review through video again. We do use them quite differently, so it's important to understand the whens and the whys we use each of these.